On Wednesday, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of religious groups over New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's restrictions on coronavirus hotspots, and the ruling was welcomed by Yossi Gestetner, co-founder of the Orthodox Jewish Public Affairs Council, and he's been quite outspoken on Governor Cuomo's approach to coronavirus restrictions. And he wrote on Twitter, quote, "Arrogant Cuomo got decked by SCOTUS at a 5-4 ruling. Basically, governors cannot impose tighter rules on religious activity than on secular activity. A 10-person limit for a house of worship imposed by Cuomo, while stores can have times over that amount, is unconstitutional." Well, he joins us now. And Yossi, good to see you. Happy Thanksgiving, belated Thanksgiving. And the 5-4 ruling marked one of the first major actions of the court since President Trump's new appointee, conservative Justice Amy Coney Barrett, joined the bench, and while Chief Justice Roberts dissented. So let's talk about that. What did you think of the ruling?
Good morning. Thanks for having me, and happy Thanksgiving to you, too. I think the ruling is very important, although delayed, because for 8-9 months, people who like to join religious activities, whether it's Muslim, Christian, Jewish, or any other religious group, were watching how secular activity in life, protests, rallies, going to stores, even playing golf, most of those activities didn't have restrictions. Certainly, they weren't so strongly enforced. But somehow, when it came to religion, multiple governors, specifically Governor Cuomo, decided that those things are not essential, or that those things should have stricter rules than the other items. So this didn't make sense from a health perspective, and certainly not in terms of the constitutional rights that people have. I don't know the Constitution by heart, but I don't recall mentioning anything about a Governor Cuomo in a pandemic that these rights are suspended. We need these rights, and these rights are written specifically when government wants to, play its hand on these things.
And Yossi, Governor Cuomo has since come out and called the ruling, quote, irrelevant because of the areas in question for that lawsuit were no longer an issue, meaning no longer coronavirus hotspots. But there's much more importance around this decision, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think this is a poor attempt by Governor Cuomo to spin this, because I think it was Gorsuch who wrote that if the zones being off now is a reason for the court not to rule, then what's to stop Governor Cuomo from reimposing those rules in 2 weeks? Then it will take months for the case to come up back to the court again, and the governor will shut down the rules again. So therefore, the majority ruled that no, the governor cannot go back and impose these rules going forward. So maybe it's not relevant today, but it may be relevant a week or two from now. And finally, we have this ruling, which basically tells the governors of the states that religious activities cannot be restricted more than other parts of life.
And Yossi, real quick, we know you are an avid Trump supporter. And what are your thoughts playing out in the country right now in this fight for the election?
Yeah, so when I appear on shows in the context of a co-founder of an organization, I try not to address politics, but I think a lot of things going on now go beyond politics. President Trump certainly made a right move by putting on the court people who respect the Constitution, people who understand that the rights and the liberties that people have is not a game to be played around with. And I think the move by the court is very important, is a great help. And, as they always say, elections have consequences. And what Mitch McConnell has done the last few years, and the president that they kept on pushing to put on the court people who respect the Constitution, has consequences in a positive way, where the rights and freedoms and liberties that people have, especially people within religious communities, should be protected and preserved. And for that, I'm grateful to President Trump and to Mitch McConnell.
Yossi Gestetner, co-founder of the Orthodox Jewish Public Affairs Council, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.